So I have an undergraduate degree in business. I also have an MBA, and I have achieved some levels of financial success in my career as well as in business on the side. And I've read a lot of books. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on financial education, wealth building, retirement, investing, and all of these things. And I've come to the conclusion that we are being taught to be ignorant as a plan for success. And that is what I want to talk to you about in this video. So let's get into it. One of the ways that regular people are taught to build wealth is to invest in the stock market, buying pieces of ownership in companies through index funds like the S&P 500. For those who don't know, an S&P 500 index fund is a mutual fund or exchange traded fund that seeks to replicate the performance of the S&P 500 index. It's comprised of 500 companies, and it gives investors a broad range of access to the leading U.S. companies. It's basically a form of diversification and investing in U.S. leading companies versus having to go out and pick, those individual companies. And therein lies the problem for me. Nobody needs to buy stock in 500 different companies. If you are buying stock in 500 different companies, you are simply saying, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just throwing shit at the wall and I'm going to see what sticks. I would be willing to bet that if you ask people who invest in the S&P 500 index fund, what are the top 100 companies in the fund? I guarantee you they could not tell you 100 companies. And if you ask them to name all 500, that's a guaranteed 0% for all people who are invested in an S&P 500 index fund. It just ain't happening. So in my mind, if you don't know all of the companies that are included in the fund, then how in the hell do you know if you're making a good investment? But guess what all of the financial experts out there are going to tell you? They're going to tell you to go invest in an S&P 500 index fund. Essentially, they are telling you to be ignorant on purpose. They are telling you that you do not have the capacity or capability to go and evaluate companies and understand them and pick companies. You do not have the time to do that. So as a result, be ignorant and just invest in an S&P 500 index fund where you buy these 500 companies and you don't know what all of these companies do. You don't know whether they're good companies, bad companies. You're just buying them. Warren Buffett famously said that diversification was protection against ignorance, and it makes little sense if you know what you're doing. And I truly believe this too. Look at Berkshire Hathaway's equity holdings. 75% of it is in 5 companies, not 500. 5 companies make up 75% of their equity holdings. What this tells me is that if you are not ignorant to identifying great companies, then there's no need for you to buy 500 different companies, which is what we're being taught to do all the time. But guess what, y'all? I am just as ignorant as everybody else out there because in my 401k, I do invest in an S&P 500 index fund. And I acknowledge, and that is the difference for me. I acknowledge and I clearly submit to the fact that I am being ignorant. I am not going to take the time to understand and evaluate all these freaking companies. I can't name 100 companies in the S&P 500 index, and I have no interest in learning that stuff. So as a result, I am going to invest in the S&P 500 index fund because I'm going to probably remain ignorant about picking great companies. And that is just the nature of it. Now, I will say this. The majority of my net worth is not tied up in the S&P 500 index fund. I just use my 401k for that purpose. The majority of my net worth is tied up into rental real estate because I understand it. I've been doing it for some years now, and I know what I'm doing. So that's where I'm going to invest my financial future into. Another area where our financial ignorance shows up is in buying cryptocurrency. Most people don't know what the blockchain is. They don't know what decentralization means. They don't know what cryptography means. All they know is that people are buying cryptocurrency and the price is going up. That's all they know. Its market value is based on trust and demand. It's not backed by anything, not even the lousy US government. Most people probably keep their crypto on an exchange platform, so they really don't even control the cryptocurrency themselves. They don't understand the tax implications of it, that, if you sell or purchase with cryptocurrency, that you're going to experience some tax implications just like you would with any other investment. A lot of people do not understand how the extreme price swings happen. I know I don't. I just know that sometimes I'll look up and see that, it's fallen by 5%, it's risen by 5%. It's only because I get these little stupid alerts, but it tells me that, man, there's something weird about this thing that I don't understand, but oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. And what does my silly butt do? I invest in cryptocurrency as well. About 4 years ago or so, I just started, throwing a little bit of money at cryptocurrency, purely as a speculative investment. I understand that I am ignorant to the inner workings of cryptocurrency, and I admit that. But I do invest in it. And there are a lot of other people out there just like me who are just walking around being ignorant to the details and the investment that they're putting money into. But you will get a whole crowd of people telling you to invest in Bitcoin, invest in Ethereum, invest in Solana and whoever else or whatever other cryptocurrencies that are out there. I only invest in two of them. But this is what people are going to tell you. So again, we are being taught to be ignorant about our own wealth building, and sometimes we willingly fall along. So what should we do to not be so ignorant? Well, only thing I can tell you is stop following conventional wisdom as if it's the gold standard. If somebody is telling you a bunch of advice like just go invest in the S&P 500, if they're telling you that type of simple advice like the average person should do, then you're probably just going to get average results. There has to be something else that other people are doing who are becoming even more successful. So how about asking them that question? Hey, instead of me just investing in this, what are some other things that I can invest in to not be average? You don't need a financial advisor to tell you to invest in the S&P 500 or to buy cryptocurrency. Any person with a minimal amount of financial education can usually find their way around to investing in an index fund or even buying cryptocurrency. How about studying the things that the people who are doing better than average are doing? Learn what they do, because they have to be out there. In addition, you're never going to skip the line and get to ultra success by just simply doing the things that the average person does. If you just continue to do average, you're going to get average. And I think in a lot of cases, this is what we are being taught, to just, be ignorant, follow the pack, make it simple, make it easy. You don't have to do any additional work to be successful. And for some people, that will be good. But for me, I want to continue to, educate myself to do better than just being average. And I hope that you do the same thing. Now, I wish I had more for you, but that is all I have for you in this video. If you took something of value, please please share with your friends and your family. And in the meantime, take care and be safe out here in these social media streets.